The rain hammered against the windshield as Marcus drove home early from his business trip. He'd wanted to surprise Sarah, maybe take her out to dinner, spend some quality time together like they used to before life got so complicated. Their 7-year-old daughter Emma was at his mother's house for the weekend, which meant they'd have the whole evening to reconnect. He smiled thinking about it, loosening his tie as he pulled into their driveway. The house looked normal enough, lights on in the living room, Sarah's car parked in its usual spot. But there was another car, a silver Honda Civic he recognized from the firm's parking lot. David Chen's car, Sarah's co-worker. Marcus felt his stomach tighten, but he pushed away the thought trying to form. There had to be a reasonable explanation. Maybe they were working on a project together. Maybe David needed help with something. Marcus used his key quietly, not wanting to startle them if they were deep in work. The house was silent except for sounds coming from upstairs, from their bedroom. His legs felt heavy as he climbed the stairs, each step an eternity. The door was slightly ajar, and what he saw through that crack shattered 8 years of marriage in an instant. He didn't burst in screaming. He didn't throw things or make threats. Marcus simply stood there, watching his wife, the woman he'd built a life with, the mother of his child, betray everything they had. After what felt like hours, but was probably only seconds, he walked back downstairs, grabbed his keys, and left. He drove aimlessly for hours, his mind trying to process what couldn't be processed, his heart breaking in ways he didn't know were possible. When he finally returned home at midnight, David's car was gone. Sarah was waiting in the living room, her face blotchy from crying, wearing one of his old college sweatshirts, like she always did when she was upset. The moment she saw him, she fell apart. "Marcus, please, I can explain. How long?" His voice was flat, emotionless. "It was just, it only happened twice, I swear. I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. Marcus, please, you have to believe me. It meant nothing." He wanted to laugh at that. It meant nothing. Those 3 words that cheaters always used, as if that made it better somehow. As if reducing their betrayal to meaninglessness was supposed to heal the wound. Sarah grabbed his hands, her tears falling on his skin. "I love you. I love our family. I made a horrible, terrible mistake, but I love you. Please don't leave me. Please don't leave Emma without her father in the house." That hit him like a punch to the gut. Emma. Sweet, innocent Emma with Sarah's eyes and his smile. Emma who drew pictures of their family holding hands, who insisted on goodnight kisses from both parents, who believed her mommy and daddy would be together forever. "I'll do anything," Sarah continued, her voice desperate. "Therapy, counseling, whatever you want. I'll quit my job. I'll never speak to David again. Marcus, please, one chance. Give me one chance to fix this." For Emma, Marcus looked at his wife, freely looked at her. He saw the woman he'd fallen in love with in college, the woman who'd held his hand during his father's funeral, the woman who'd brought their daughter into the world. He saw 8 years of memories, of laughter and struggles and building a life together. And he saw all of it crumbling, knowing it would never be the same. But he also saw Emma's face, heard her voice asking why Daddy didn't live with them anymore. He thought about split custody, about his little girl shuttling between 2 houses, about destroying her sense of security and family. "One chance," he finally said, his voice hollow. "You get one chance, Sarah. But I swear to God, if you lie to me even once, if you see him even once, if you give me any reason not to trust you, I'm done. Do you understand? There won't be a conversation or another chance. I'll be gone." Sarah nodded frantically, pulling him into an embrace he couldn't return. "I understand. Thank you. Thank you. I promise I'll make this right. I promise." As she cried into his chest, Marcus stared at the wall, wondering if he was being strong for his daughter or just a fool. The next 3 months were like living in a play where everyone knew their lines perfectly. Sarah transformed overnight into the version of herself that Marcus had fallen in love with years ago, attentive, affectionate, present. She'd wake up early to make him breakfast, pack his lunch with little notes tucked inside. She texted him throughout the day with updates, photos, constant reassurances of where she was and what she was doing. "Just finished grocery shopping. Picking up Emma from school now. Love you. Made your favorite for dinner. Can't wait for you to get home. Thinking about you. You're my everything." True to her word, Sarah had quit her job at the firm. She'd found work at a small company across town, taking a pay cut neither of them could really afford, but Marcus hadn't argued. She started couples therapy, insisted on it, actually finding a counselor who specialized in infidelity recovery. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m., they sat in Dr. Patricia Morrison's office, dissecting what had gone wrong. I was feeling neglected, Sarah explained during one session. Tissue in hand, Marcus was working so much, and I was lonely. That's not an excuse. There is no excuse for what I did, but I was vulnerable. And David paid attention to me. Double quotes. Dr. Morrison nodded thoughtfully. And Marcus, how does that make you feel? How did it make him feel? Guilty, somehow, for her cheating. Like he'd driven her to it by working long hours to pay for their house, their cars, Emma's private school. But he'd been taught to be introspective, to take responsibility. So he said, I could have been more present. I got caught up in providing and forgot about connecting. Sarah squeezed his hand. We both made mistakes, but we're fixing them, together. At home, Sarah was the model wife. She'd greet him at the door with kisses, ask about his day with genuine interest, rub his shoulders while he unwound on the couch. She planned date nights, movies, dinners, even a weekend getaway to that bed and breakfast they'd visited on their honeymoon. She initiated intimacy more than she had in years, looking into his eyes and whispering, I love you, only you, forever. Marcus wanted to believe it. God, he wanted to believe it so badly. He watched Emma's face light up seeing her parents laugh together, hold hands, act like a team again. His daughter drew new pictures, their family at the park, at the beach, always together and smiling. The relief in her eyes was worth everything, wasn't it? But late at night, when Sarah slept beside him, Marcus lay awake staring at the ceiling. He couldn't forget what he'd seen. Every time she touched him, part of him wondered if she'd touched David the same way. Every I love you echoed with the memory of lies. The trust was gone, and he was just going through the motions, performing his role as the forgiving husband while something inside him remained shattered. He started noticing things, small things. The way Sarah's phone was always face down now. How she'd take calls in another room. The password on her laptop had changed. She said it was random. A security measure the IT guy at her new job recommended. Marcus didn't push. He was trying to trust, trying to heal, trying to keep his promise to give her this chance. Dr. Morrison talked about rebuilding trust brick by brick. It's a slow process, she said. There will be setbacks, doubts, difficult days. But if you're both committed to transparency and honesty, you can come back stronger. Sarah nodded enthusiastically. I'm committed, completely. Marcus is my world. Marcus nodded too, because what else could he do? He'd made his choice. For Emma, for the family. He'd put the pain in a box and tried to move forward. Then came the company dinner. Sarah's new firm was having a celebration for landing a major client, and spouses were invited. Marcus put on his best suit, and Sarah looked beautiful in the blue dress he loved. They drove together, her hand on his knee, chatting about Emma's upcoming piano recital. The restaurant was crowded with Sarah's new colleagues, people Marcus had never met. She introduced him around, her arm linked through his, playing the devoted wife perfectly. They ate good food, drank expensive wine, and for a few hours, Marcus almost forgot the weight he'd been carrying. He excused himself to use the restroom. The restaurant was large, and he got turned around on the way back, ending up near the kitchen. That's when he saw Sarah standing in a corner alcove, partially hidden by a decorative screen. She was on her phone, and even from a distance, he could see the expression on her face. It wasn't the face she made when texting him or her mother or anyone else he'd seen her contact. This was different, softer, more intimate. Marcus moved closer, his heart beginning to pound. He couldn't see the screen, but he could see her fingers flying over the keyboard, see the small smile playing at her lips, see her bite her lower lip the way she did when she was flirting. When she finally looked up and saw him, the phone disappeared into her purse so fast it was almost comical. Hey, I was just checking on Emma. Your mom says she's already asleep. Sarah's smile was bright, but Marcus had learned to read her tells. The way her left eye twitched slightly when she lied. The way she touched her neck. Who were you really texting? He asked quietly. I told you, your mom don't. His voice was sharp enough to make her flinch. "Don't lie to me right now, Sarah. I saw your face." "Who was it?" "It was just a friend from work, Marcus." "You're being paranoid. Show me your phone." "What? No. I'm not going to. Show me your phone, or I'm walking out of here right now." Something flickered in her eyes. Panic, guilt. She clutched her purse tighter. "You don't trust me at all, do you? After everything I've done, all the effort I've put in." But Marcus was already walking away. He heard her calling after him, but he didn't stop. He got in the car and drove home, leaving her to find her own way back. He didn't sleep that night. He sat in Emma's room, watching his daughter dream, wondering what he was about to do to her life. Sarah came home 2 hours later in an Uber, crying and apologetic. Marcus was sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee he hadn't touched. She launched immediately into explanations. It was nothing, just a co-worker making jokes. He was overreacting, misunderstanding, being unfair after all the progress they'd made. He let her talk herself out. When she finally stopped, he said simply, "I want to see your phone, Marcus, please. This is exhausting. We can't build trust if you're going to. Your phone. Now. Or I'm calling a divorce attorney first thing tomorrow morning." The ultimatum hung in the air between them. Sarah's face went through a series of expressions: anger, fear, calculation. Finally, she pulled out her phone and handed it to him, but not before he saw her fingers moving across the screen. "Fine, look, you'll see there's nothing." He took the phone. The recent messages were innocuous conversations with her mom, with her new friend Jessica from work, with him. Nothing suspicious. He checked her call log. Normal. He started to feel foolish, paranoid, like maybe he was sabotaging their recovery with his inability to forgive. Then he noticed the apps. There was a folder labeled Utilities with calculator, compass, and other basic functions. Something made him click on it. Behind those innocent icons was another app, a messaging app he didn't recognize. It required a separate password. "What's this?" He held up the phone. Sarah's face went white. "I don't know. That must have come with the phone. Stop lying." He slammed his hand on the table, making them both jump. "Just stop. I'm giving you one last opportunity to tell me the truth. What is this app?" The silence stretched. He watched tears form in her eyes, watched her whole body seem to deflate. When she spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. "It's a messaging app. It's encrypted. Who are you talking to?" "Marcus." "Who?" "David." She flinched as she said the name. "But it's not what you think. We're just friends now. We work in the same industry, and sometimes we talk about professional things. Nothing inappropriate, I swear." Marcus felt something inside him go cold and hard. "Give me the password." "No, Marcus, please, you're blowing this out of proportion." He stood up, setting the phone down carefully. "I'm going upstairs to pack a bag. When I come back down, you can either give me that password, or you can give me your car keys, because I'm taking Emma and leaving. And you won't see either of us again, except in court." He walked upstairs, moving mechanically. He pulled out a duffel bag and started filling it with clothes. He heard Sarah follow, heard her crying, pleading, but it all sounded distant, like it was happening to someone else. Okay, here." She thrust the phone at him. "The password is 047, our anniversary. Look, you'll see it's nothing." He typed in the numbers. The app opened, and there, in black and white, was the evidence of every lie she'd told for 3 months. Messages going back weeks, dozens of them, hundreds, maybe. "Missing you today. Can't stop thinking about Thursday. My husband's at work. Can you get away for lunch? He suspects something. We need to be more careful. I love the way you touch me. Can't wait to feel it again." Marcus scrolled through in silence. There were arrangements to meet, passionate messages, complaints about him, about how paranoid he was, how suffocating, how she couldn't wait until she could make a clean break. There were photos too, photos of Sarah, photos he couldn't even bring himself to fully look at. "Marcus, I can explain. When?" he asked, his voice eerily calm. "When did you see him? Give me dates." Sarah was sobbing now, mascara streaming down her face. "It was only twice. Just lunch dates, Sarah. Last month, Tuesday the 14th, we just talked. And then, 2 weeks ago, Thursday afternoon, I told you I had a dentist appointment Thursday 2 weeks ago. The day she'd come home with a new lingerie set she said was for him. A surprise to rekindle their intimacy. The day she'd made love to him that night with an enthusiasm that had actually given him hope. She'd been with David that afternoon, then come home to him. Marcus set down the phone. His hands were steady. His voice was steady. Everything about him was steady except for the scream building inside that he refused to let out. Not here, not in front of her. She didn't deserve to see him break. Pack Emma's things, he said. Just the essentials for a week. I'm taking her to my mother's. No, please don't take my baby. She's my daughter too. And I'm not leaving her here with you tonight. You can see her tomorrow. We'll figure out a schedule until the divorce is final. Divorce? Sarah grabbed his arm. No, Marcus, please. I made a mistake, I know, but we can get through this. More therapy, different boundaries. I'll do anything. He looked at the hand on his arm like it was something repulsive, and she let go. You had your chance, he said quietly. I gave you exactly what you asked for. One chance. You blew it. Actually, you blew it and then lied to my face every single day while I tried to rebuild a marriage you were still actively destroying. I was scared. I was confused. I didn't know how to stop it. You stop it by stopping. You don't meet him for lunch. You don't send him photos. You don't fuck him and then come home and fuck me and pretend everything's fine. His voice finally cracked on that last sentence. You destroyed us, Sarah, not just once, but every single day for 3 months. You looked me in the eyes in therapy and lied. You held our daughter and lied. You made love to me and lied. He moved past her to Emma's room and started packing her backpack with clothes. Her favorite stuffed elephant, the blanket she couldn't sleep without. Sarah stood in the doorway, watching him with horror. What do I tell her? Sarah whispered. Tell her the truth. That mommy made choices that broke our family. Or don't. I honestly don't care anymore what you tell people. He zipped the backpack. I'm going to wake Emma and take her to my mother's. You're going to stay in this room while I do it. Tomorrow, I'm calling an attorney. You'll be hearing from them soon. Marcus and Sarah? He finally looked at her directly. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't show up at my mother's house. The only communication between us will be through lawyers and about Emma. That's it. We're done. Marcus barely slept on his mother's couch that night. Emma had been confused and upset when he'd woken her, but he'd soothed her with promises of making pancakes with Grandma in the morning. She'd fallen back asleep during the car ride, trusting him completely in the way only children can. That trust felt like both a gift and a crushing responsibility. His mother, Linda, had taken one look at his face when he arrived near midnight and asked no questions. She'd simply set up the guest room for Emma, made up the couch for him, and put a hand on his shoulder. Whatever it is, honey, you'll get through it. You're stronger than you know. Now, at 6 a.m., he sat in his mother's kitchen drinking coffee and staring at his phone. 47 missed calls from Sarah. 63 text messages that started with please and devolved into increasingly desperate pleas, accusations, and finally, anger. He read none of them completely. He'd seen enough. He called David Anderson, the best divorce attorney in the city and an old fraternity brother. David answered on the third ring, his voice groggy. This better be good, Marcus. It's 6 in the morning. She cheated. I gave her a second chance. She kept doing it. I need a divorce, and I need primary custody of my daughter. There was a pause. Jesus, Marcus. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll handle it. Can you be at my office at 9? I'll be there. The next few hours passed in a blur. He helped Emma with her pancakes, pretending everything was normal while his world fell apart. He fielded a call from Sarah's mother, who'd clearly been fed some version of events where he was the bad guy. He let her yell, then quietly said, Ask your daughter what she's been doing for the past 3 months. Ask her about David Chen. The line went dead. At David's office, Marcus laid out everything. The initial affair, the fake reconciliation, the secret messages, the meetings. He showed David the screenshots he'd taken of Sarah's hidden app. Before she'd had a chance to delete anything, David listened, took notes, and finally leaned back in his chair. This is pretty cut and dry. Honestly, with this kind of documentation and the deception involved, you'll get a favorable settlement. As for custody, Judges typically prefer joint custody, but given the circumstances and the fact that she used dentist appointments to conduct an affair showing questionable judgment and dishonesty, we can push for primary custody, with her getting visitation rights. How long? If she doesn't contest it, 4 to 6 months. If she fights it, could be a year or more. But Marcus? David leaned forward. She's not going to fight. Not once she sees what you have on her. She'll know she has no leg to stand on. Marcus nodded. Something about David's certainty made it all feel real. His marriage was over. The life he'd built was over. He was going to be a divorced dad, shuttling his daughter between houses, navigating holidays and birthdays and school events with a woman he couldn't stand to look at. Draw up the papers, Marcus said. I want this done as fast as legally possible. David started the process. Marcus spent the week at his mother's house, establishing a new routine with Emma. He took her to school, picked her up, helped with homework, read bedtime stories. Sarah called constantly, but he never answered. She showed up at his mother's house twice. The first time, Linda answered the door and calmly informed her that Marcus didn't want to see her, but Emma could visit for a few hours under Linda's supervision. The second time, Marcus had to threaten to call the police. He let Sarah see Emma 3 times that week. Each time, his daughter came back quieter, more withdrawn. Mommy keeps crying, Emma told him one night. She says she misses you. Are you and Mommy getting divorced? Marcus sat on the edge of her bed, choosing his words carefully. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes that hurt each other too much to stay married. Your mom and I are going to live in different houses, but we both love you very much. That will never change. Is it because of me? No, baby. He pulled her into a hug. This is absolutely not because of you. This is about choices Mommy and I made. You are the best thing that ever happened to us. You didn't do anything wrong. But he could see the confusion and pain in his daughter's eyes. And he hated Sarah for putting it there. He hated her for destroying their family. He hated her for making him into a weekend dad. Most of all, he hated that part of him still remembered loving her. On Friday, exactly 1 week after he'd discovered the hidden messages, David called. Papers are ready. I can have them delivered to her this afternoon if you're sure. Marcus thought about Sarah's texts. The ones where she swore she'd changed this time. For real. The ones where she blamed him for not forgiving her quickly enough. For making her feel trapped and turning her back to David. The ones where she played victim. As if she hadn't actively chosen to betray him every single day for 3 months. Deliver them. He said, that evening. Sarah called from a number he didn't recognize. Against his better judgment, he answered. You sent me divorce papers. Her voice was hollow. You're really doing this? Did you think I wasn't? I thought you'd calm down. I thought we'd talk. I thought you'd remember that we have a daughter together, that we took vows, that we built a life. You should have thought about all that before you fucked him again. Marcus said flatly. You had every opportunity to stop. You chose not to. Actions have consequences, Sarah. You're just not used to facing them. I made a mistake. No. His voice was hard. Backing into someone's car is a mistake. Forgetting an anniversary is a mistake. What you did was a choice. You chose to lie to me. You chose to see him. You chose to send him photos. You chose to meet him while I was at work trying to provide for our family. You chose to come home and pretend you gave a damn about our marriage while you were planning your clean break. Those were all choices, Sarah. Own them. He could hear her crying. Once, that sound would have broken him. Now he felt nothing. I'll sign the papers, she whispered. But Marcus, please, can we just talk one more time? Face to face, please? He almost said no. He should have said no. But something in him needed closure, needed to say goodbye to this chapter of his life properly. Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m., at the house. Emma stays with my mother, okay? Thank you. He hung up. Sunday arrived cold and gray, matching Marcus's mood perfectly. He'd arranged for his mother to take Emma to a movie, ensuring his daughter would be safely away from whatever emotional scene was about to unfold. He'd also asked his brother to wait in his car outside just in case things got out of hand, though he doubted they would. Sarah had never been violent, just dishonest. He arrived at the house at exactly 2 p.m., his house. The house he'd made the down payment on. The house he'd spent weekends renovating. The house that still held the ghost of the family he'd thought they were building. Sarah's car was already in the driveway. She opened the door before he could use his key. She looked terrible, hair unwashed, no makeup, wearing sweatpants and one of his old t-shirts. Her eyes were red and swollen. The house behind her was a mess, dishes in the sink, laundry everywhere, like she'd given up on maintaining even basic functionality. "Hi," she said softly. "Hi." He stepped inside, keeping distance between them. "I can't stay long. Emma's expecting me for dinner." "Of course." Sarah twisted her hands together. "Do you want coffee or no? Let's just talk." They sat in the living room, on opposite ends of the couch that they'd picked out together 5 years ago. Sarah pulled her knees to her chest, looking young and lost. Marcus remained composed, his emotional walls firmly in place. "I signed the papers," Sarah said. "My lawyer looked at them. She said you're being generous with the settlement, keeping the house, the cars, splitting the savings evenly, only asking for primary custody, not full. I'm not trying to destroy you, Sarah. I'm just trying to move on. I know you are. That's what makes this so much worse. You're being kind, and I don't deserve it." Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. "Marcus, I am so sorry. I know you don't believe me, but I am. I was selfish and stupid, and I destroyed the best thing in my life." Marcus said nothing. What was there to say? Sorry didn't fix broken trust. Sorry didn't erase the images burned into his brain. Sorry didn't give him back the 3 months he'd spent trying to rebuild something she was actively tearing down. "Can I ask you something?" Sarah's voice was small. "Did you ever really forgive me? After that first time?" He considered lying, then decided she'd had enough lies between them. "No, I tried. I wanted to, for Emma's sake. But every time I looked at you, I saw what you'd done. Every time you touched me, I wondered if you were thinking about him. I went through the motions because I'd made a promise, but forgiveness? Real forgiveness? No, that never came." Sarah absorbed this like a physical blow. "So we were doomed from the start. We were doomed the moment you brought him into our bedroom." Marcus corrected. "Everything after that was just delayed consequences." "What about Emma? How do we?" She couldn't finish the sentence. "We co-parent, civilly. You get her every other weekend and 1 weeknight for dinner. Holidays we split. We communicate about school, doctor appointments, activities all through text or email. We show up to her events and be cordial. We never, ever badmouth each other in front of her. We put her first, even though you didn't put us first." The barb landed. Sarah flinched but nodded. "I can do that. I will do that. She deserves better than what I've given her." "Yes, she does." They sat in silence. Marcus looked around the room, seeing memories everywhere. Emma's first steps, right there by the bookshelf. Christmas mornings, birthday parties, date nights cuddled on this couch watching movies. All of it tainted now, all of it belonging to a past that felt like it happened to different people. "Is there any part of you that still loves me?" Sarah asked suddenly. Marcus took his time answering. "There's a part of me that loves who I thought you were. The woman I married. The woman I built dreams with. But that woman either never existed or she died somewhere along the way. The person you actually are. The person who could lie to my face every day. No, I don't love her. I don't even know her." Sarah nodded, tears streaming freely now. "That's fair. That's more than fair." Marcus stood. "I'm going to get the rest of my things from upstairs. I'll be out of your way in an hour." "Marcus, wait." She stood too, reaching for him. He stepped back, and she let her hand fall. "I just need you to know something. David and I, it's over." He wanted to leave his wife, wanted me to leave you, wanted us to build something real. But I couldn't, because even while I was with him, even while I was lying to you, some part of me knew that what you and I had was real. What I had with him was just emptiness pretending to be excitement. "Congratulations," Marcus said dryly. "You figured out that a fair fog isn't the same as actual connection. Unfortunately, you figured it out after destroying the real thing." He went upstairs to their bedroom, to his former bedroom, and pulled out his suitcases. He methodically packed his clothes, his personal items, the photos of Emma he kept on the nightstand. He left his wedding ring on the dresser, right next to Sarah's jewelry box. When he opened the closet to grab his suits, he paused. This closet had been a point of negotiation when they'd moved in. Sarah wanted more space. He'd wanted a better system for organizing ties. They'd compromised like partners do. Now half of it would be empty. He heard footsteps. Sarah stood in the doorway, watching him pack. "I keep thinking I'll wake up, and this will all be a nightmare," she said. "That I'll get a chance to redo everything, to make different choices. Life doesn't work that way." Marcus folded another shirt. "I know. But if it did, if I could go back to that first time with David, I'd say no. I'd remember what I had at home. I'd remember you." Marcus zipped his suitcase and turned to face her. "But you can't go back. None of us can. We can only live with our choices. Will you ever be able to forgive me? Maybe not now, but someday." He thought about it, really thought about it. About whether there would come a day when he could look back on this without anger. When he could think about the good years without them being overshadowed by the betrayal. When he could see Sarah as just Emma's mother and not the woman who'd shattered his ability to trust. "Maybe," he said finally, "someday, when I've healed enough that none of this matters anymore, when I've built a new life and you're just someone I used to know, maybe then I'll forgive you. But not for you, for me. So I can stop carrying this weight." He picked up his suitcase and walked past her, down the stairs, toward the door and whatever came next. "Marcus?" He paused at the door, didn't turn around. "I hope you find someone who deserves you. Someone who sees what I was too blind to see. Someone who treats you the way I should have. Goodbye, Sarah." He walked out, closing the door behind him with a quiet click that sounded like finality. 6 months later, the divorce was final. Marcus had moved into a nice apartment close to Emma's school. He'd started therapy, real therapy, for himself, to process the trauma and rebuild his ability to trust. He'd lost weight, started running again, reconnected with friends he'd lost touch with during the marriage. Emma adjusted better than he'd feared. She split her time between houses, and while she was sad sometimes, she was also resilient. Marcus made sure his place felt like home, her own room, her favorite foods, movie nights every Friday. He never asked about Sarah's house, never pumped her for information, never badmouthed her mother even when it would have been easy. Sarah had moved to a smaller place across town. According to mutual friends, she was seeing a therapist too, trying to figure out why she'd sabotaged her own life. David had apparently moved to another state with his wife, trying to salvage his own marriage. The affair that had seemed so important, so worth destroying everything for, had amounted to nothing but wreckage. One Sunday, while Emma was with Sarah, Marcus went back to the house, their old house. Sarah was selling it. Neither of them could afford it alone, and neither wanted to carry those memories forward. He'd agreed to pick up the last few boxes of things from the garage. Sarah answered the door, looking better than she had in months, healthier, more centered, still sad, but no longer desperate. "Thanks for coming," she said. "The boxes are all labeled, no problem." As he loaded them into his car, Sarah stood on the porch watching. When he finished, he gave her a brief nod. "That's everything, Marcus." She came down the steps. "I heard Emma talking about your new girlfriend, the teacher from her school." He was seeing someone, a kindergarten teacher named Rachel, who made him laugh and didn't play games. It was new, careful, tentative. He was taking his time, protecting both his and Emma's hearts. "What about it?" "I'm glad," Sarah said, and she sounded like she meant it. "I'm glad you're moving on, that you're happy." Marcus studied her face, looking for manipulation or ulterior motives, but found only sincerity. Maybe she really had changed. Maybe she'd learned something from burning her life down. Maybe it just didn't matter anymore. "I hope you find happiness too, Sarah, real happiness, not the kind that comes from destroying something else. I'm working on it, on being better, on understanding why I needed external validation so badly that I risked everything." She smiled sadly. "Too late for us, but maybe it'll help me be a better person, a better mother. That's all any of us can do. Try to be better." He got in his car. In the rearview mirror, he could see Sarah standing in the driveway of the empty house, watching him leave. There was no dramatic music, no passionate declaration, no last-minute reconciliation. Just two people who used to be married, now strangers who shared a child, trying to navigate the aftermath of choices that couldn't be undone. That night, Marcus tucked Emma into bed in their apartment. She was holding her stuffed elephant, her eyes already drooping. "Daddy?" She mumbled sleepily. "Yeah, baby. Are you happy?" He thought about it, about the pain of the past year, about the healing he was doing, about Rachel and her easy smile, about the life he was building from the ruins. Was he happy? "I'm getting there," he said honestly. "A little more every day, good." Emma yawned. "You deserve to be happy." Marcus kissed her forehead, turned off the light, and closed the door. In the living room, his phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. "Hope you had a good day with Emma. Coffee tomorrow?" He smiled and typed back, "Sounds perfect." And for the first time in a long time, he meant it.